Welcome to our work session special meeting. Please rise, or risen, for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Paulette O'Brien.
Here.
John Crean.
Here.
Tom Grattan.
Here.
Scott Latham.
Here.
Brian Tobin. In the event of an emergency, visitors are advised that they may exit this room from the one side door which leads directly into the parking lot. In the event of an emergency, everyone is asked to move away from the building and do not attempt to leave in your automobile, since this may cause traffic problems and block incoming emergency vehicles.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. This is your meeting, I believe.
Yes, so today we're going to talk about our goals. It's been a quick year, surprisingly. Last summer we set 4 goals, one academic, one social and emotional. Thank you. So we set up 4 goals. Our goals were in line with the Southold mission statement. I'm not going to read it to people, it's on our website. They also touch upon the characteristics that are portrayed in the portrait of a graduate. And our 4 goals, one academic, focused mostly on learning targets, which is one of the first of the foundational 5 areas that we chose to focus on. One focused on social and emotional learning, one on our financial position, and one on our facilities, our building and grounds. Each of them have been on the website, and we've collected data on them all throughout the year. And one by one, goal number 1, 75 to 80% of classroom teachers will utilize high-quality learning targets, increasing student engagement and ownership of learning as measured by classroom visits and walkthroughs. We collected 169 data points throughout the year in rooms from K through 12 in every content area, and 92.2% of the time learning targets were present. Posted, discussed, explained, handed out, somehow present in the room. Our high quality measures, and it's important to understand that from these numbers, depending on when you enter a room, you can't always gauge all these things, so it's not fair to say they're not always present. Sometimes, like when I observe in my post-observation conversation, it's clear that things were carried over from prior lessons and such, but either way, they were present, the majority of the time. These are the different types of high-quality measurements that we were able to look at. Were they based on the standards? The standards in New York State are long and they're very lengthy, and you do not really see them in every lesson, nor should you, because your kids would be asleep by the end of most of your lessons. But you should see them at times, and you should know that the lesson is linked to them. Student-friendly language was present in almost all of the lessons, and that is germane to each individual grade level. So student-friendly for a kindergartner is different than student-friendly in a physics class. But what would be expected as student-friendly language was present the majority of the time. Measurable was also, and those quite honestly are 2 of the most important, specific and contextualized, focused on learning and doing. So the numbers really were quite good in those. You're not going to have 100% on those in every lesson, nor should you. It's not possible for them to be 100% in every lesson. But I would say overall, goal number 1 was achieved, not with 100% success, but at a very high success rate.
Would you think that bottom one should be a little bit higher maybe going forward?
Focused on learning and doing is a tough one because, there's times where you walk through and you're in a lesson that is review for a test. You're not going to see that goal.
Right.
Okay. And it's almost like high quality questions. You can't, nor should you be asking thought-provoking questions all the time. You need some question and answer about basic skills that is not a higher order thinking, because without those skills to be able to answer those, you can't answer the higher order thinking questions. So, it shouldn't be present significantly much higher than this. We went through it with Judy. We met with her and we looked at them, and the numbers that should be high, student-friendly and measurable, should be high in almost all of your lessons. Standard-based should not be high in all your lessons. If you've ever looked at the New York State standards, you'd understand why. You know, it's present, but it shouldn't be visible in all of them. You know, and then focused on learning and doing, that's, you know, 5 points higher would, you know, would be nice, but that's not a bad number at all. It's one that we felt very comfortable with. Social emotional learning will integrate character education to classrooms and school-wide activities, utilized Rethink Ed, focused on supporting student and adult social emotional health, as evidenced by an increase in student and staff reported feelings of wellness and a decrease in behavioral health referrals. So we're not done the year yet, so we haven't done our analysis and comparison on those, but things that we did do, we sent out letters every month that we were utilizing a certain characteristic. And we got some really interesting and nice feedback from parents. When you walked into lessons, it was evident. You know, I observed many lessons where these characteristics in the gymnasium and in classrooms were built into the lessons. I even had comments from some parents. I even interviewed a person who said, I have a friend who lives in this district, and she was telling me about the different characteristics that you guys are doing with your kids each month, and how she loves talking about them at home with her kids. You know, so we did have a lot of informal evidence, and we did get the letters out every month. I had some questions early on about them that I answered, and I shared resources with parents. Those went away relatively quickly because I think people felt a lot more comfortable. Things that we have heard from teachers, even though we have not gathered all the information back from them yet, is that it is nice to have a uniform platform. One of the things that's nice for us is I can go on the Rethink Ed platform and see how much it's been accessed. It has been accessed about 15,000 times more than it was last year. You know, so our teachers are going on and they're looking at this material and they're utilizing it in the ways that we have asked them to with their kids. And it's evidence from seeing it. It's also evidence from looking at the platform and seeing how much people have gone on. It has definitely increased the focus on certain areas like resilience, and the different areas that we chose to focus on, respect. You know, certain ones were really much easier to work into like every day's lesson. Others, you needed some work, but our teachers are really masterful at what they do. And then we're going to look for feedback from our community and our teachers once we're at the very end of the year and try to get that. Does anybody have any questions on goal number 2? So we're not sure if we fully achieved it yet, although we have had some positive feedback on where we're at with it right now. So goal number 3 is a financial goal. The business office produced a tax-sensitive budget that is fully supportive of all initiatives and opportunities for students, as evidenced by a positive budget vote of 75% or greater, while maintaining a healthy bond rating. That 75% number, quite honestly, is probably higher than 10-15% higher than the county average. So it really is a lofty goal. We did achieve it, 79 plus. It was like 79.6 or 79.8% voted yes for our budget. We did maintain everything we have. Now, as I say all the time in budget meetings, the fact that we did not eliminate everything does not mean that everything looked exactly the way it was last year. You know, if no one comes out for a basketball team, we won't have a basketball team. That doesn't mean we eliminated it, it just means we won't have it. You know, I think we may have one less elementary teacher next year because of our enrollment. We didn't eliminate it, we just don't have the kids to have it. So, you know, our budget supported all of that, 79% voted yes. We utilized our grants, I believe, very effectively, replacing our air conditioning and filtering system, putting in some outdoor areas, summer camps, all sorts of different programs, you know, that support, many of them will support Southold for years. So that's also nice, even though that's not really what the state intends us to do. You know, we offered opportunities with our budget meetings. We had people come in and talk about it, and that prompted us to look at different things and look into different things and find out that we are doing many of those. You know, and then to look at the possibility of doing others. We did not cut any departments or programs. We're very transparent about what we will and won't do and why we will do it. That sometimes evokes a thankful, happy feeling from people, and sometimes not as much, but it's still transparent and it's still clear and very easily explained. And then we retained a bond rating of AA2, is that how I say that, Chuck?
Yeah.
You know, which is, from my understanding, an excellent bond rating for a school district.
It's very good. It's
Yeah.
it's limited sometimes based on our property values and
Mhm.
assessments, but it's very good.
Okay. Any questions on financial goal? Our facilities goal, the facilities department will complete a 5-year plan utilizing local knowledge and the architect's report to maintain and proactively ensure a safe, comfortable learning environment for students and staff. 5-year plan was shared in draft form with the Building and Grounds Committee. You know, it is nearly complete. It is an internal document. That 5-year plan is an internal document, does not get filed with the state or handed in, but it is a document that we work from. We are already working from it. I'll explain that a little bit later in some of the later bullets. Visual inspection with the 5-year plan serves as the assessment tool to evaluate plant and property. We did have to submit that plan. It was submitted in 2022. I believe they're actually going to be doing away with those plans in the future, so we may not be submitting them again. We still plan on utilizing them annually because it's a great way to make sure that we're where we want to be. You don't want to find out that like something's leaking in the back of your building on the first day of school. Like you want to find that out in the spring or over the summer. The building condition survey is conducted every 5 years and submitted to the state. Ours was put in 2022. We'll have to go back in until 2027. When I talked about the fact that we were looking at, that we were using this as an internal document, this is the bullet I'm talking about specifically. We had 2 boilers that were leaking, one that was jury-rigged back together, and it was evident that we had to replace our boilers. We already are in process with that. You know, right now we're looking at options for boilers because the exact one that we wanted will not be available for 5 months. There are a number of others that are just as efficient and just as dependable, we hope. We have the architect looking at them to decide that, and then we'll go forward from there. You know, we're utilizing reserve funds for that, so all 4 of our boilers will be replaced with reserve funds. There'll be no additional cost to the community. It's funding that we have put away for when we have to do things like this. We have a number of other projects, windows on the middle school, roofs, and different things that we're going to look at, but you know, you need to space them out. You need to build your reserves back up again and space them out. They can't all be done at once. Not to mention the fact that they just can't do them all at once, you know. July 1st, Anthony and his men and from the buildings, plus his crew from over here, will do a full campus inspection so that anything that needs to be upgraded, fixed, or repaired over the summer will be done. And then we're gonna put together a schedule of quarterly building inspections so that we're not waiting until something breaks. We're inspecting at a regular basis. So they do those different inspections already. All in all, our buildings really are in quite good shape, considering we're over 100 years old in the building we're in right now. But they have to be maintained, you know, just like any other building. The key to keeping your building in good shape and not ending up with tremendous bills is by maintaining it regularly. And maintenance on this building has been done quite well for the last decade and probably well beyond before that. So, you know, we have a good guy in that role in Anthony, where he's routinely coming about, you know, I asked him about the middle school roof because we're well beyond the warranty of that roof. And he had already looked into it, he's already gotten prices with different guys, but he said, you know, it's a pitched roof. We can go another year on that and space it out from the boilers. And, you know, so we have somebody who's good in that role that really looks into things and is very thorough. Any questions on our facility goal? So I would say, you know, prior to just opening it up to any questions, I would say that we, even though we're not at the complete end of the year, I think we're very close to achieving our goals at a level that is commensurate with what we can say is success. Again, I don't think that any really good goal being set should be 110% attainable. You know, I think that there's a little bit of meat on every bone, otherwise you set your goals too easy. We've already started to talk about goals for next year. Some of them may mirror and be similar to this. Some are coming from communication with parents, communication with groups from within our district, and we've already started work on them. So we'll start putting them all together, and we'll look at adopting another set of goals over the summer that we can really hone in and focus on and work towards next year. But I would say I feel that we have been successful with our goals this year in a way that I'm very comfortable with, and one that I hope people in the districts see that we've gotten.
Will we meet together over the summer like we did last year? I thought that was very effective.
Yeah, it is, to get everybody's input, put it all together, and there are districts that do a goal document that's 25 pages long. To me, that's unmanageable. I like where we were at. I wouldn't mind another, if we found that there's another one area we want to add, but I think that we did an effective job discussing what we felt, not only what we felt the goal should be, but also, where we felt we needed to get to them to think that we achieved it.
I think the financial goals can stay the same year after year.
Yes.
I would agree.
Yeah, financial goal,
And that 79% budget pass, that's the ultimate determinant.
it is. And the reality is that the financial goal, your financial goal, depending on, it's contingent on what the state does. So if the state were to cut us millions of dollars next year, having a financial goal of not cutting everything could actually still be your financial goal, but it may not be a reality. So there is a little bit of reliance on outside forces there, but I do believe having that as a goal is a really good way to
Maybe we
start
should
everything.
plan on a 5-year goal to eliminate the funding that it looked like they were, the 489,000.
I think it'll be quicker than 5 years.
Oh,
And we
okay
already
then.
started
Then I guess we
plan.
have to escalate it, but if we plan on a little bit next year, a little bit the
We
following,
already have.
good,
We actually started planning on it last year.
That's great.
These are signs that they give you.
yeah.
There's no, all these people in office, they know what they're doing 2 years from now. They know what they're doing 3 years from now. They start talking about how this doesn't really work. I was with DiNapoli, the state's comptroller, last year on a presentation over the summer, and he made it pretty clear the foundation aid was going to be changing. I didn't think it was be as drastic as cutting it all in 1 year, but he made it very, very clear. We started planning then, because you can't wait till after, if you're reactive about everything, that's sometimes too late. Sometimes you have to be reactive because you never know what's going to happen. But, we've started talking about making some of those plans. We have right-sized our population and our programs rather than some other places where they've spent monies that they just can't really maintain year after year to keep something in place or somebody happy. We've not cut anything by doing it, but we've right-sized it. So we've had 3 elementary teaching positions that have been abolished since I've been here. Our class sizes are still probably some of the smallest around the county.
Mm-hmm.
And our teachers are still excellent. And there's no complaints about what's going on. But we've right-sized. We didn't keep those classes in place in one class of 8 kids. We eliminated as we had, and we were lucky to be able to do it through retirement. And that's how it worked out this year. We had a teacher retire, we had another teacher shift into that position. You guys approved her at the last board meeting. And that meant that the
Do you
position.
think that's still going to be the case in 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I do, because I think that our staff.
Like I forget, I had a list of who served for how long, and I have it somewhere in my
I
phone.
think our retirements, I think we'll have numerous retirements. in
So you
the
think
next
that the
10
dominoes will fall for this district so that we don't have to do painful things?
I am hopeful that that's how it will go. And I do.
All right,
we've
all right,
done
you
it
think
that-
it's,
We've been able to do it that way with the exception of one. And that person went from us right back to the district that she had been in prior to us and worked, never was out of a job. So we're we've been very lucky with it, and my hope is that we stay very lucky with it. Because, eliminating positions that really are attached to people is lousy. I've had to do it in other places because you couldn't help it. It's not really, not done because anybody didn't do a great job. It's not done for any of those reasons. It stinks, So hopefully, the way our changes came in, the way that people planned in the high school, there was a lot of overages that were used rather than hiring teachers that could have been part-time or stuff like that. And those have gone away to some regard, and they will continue to go away. But I don't
For
think.
me, the elementary school is much easier to understand. It's
Significantly
simple.
easier.
And obviously, the higher grades, it's much more complicated, and I don't have
Yeah.
a handle on that
Uh-huh.
as much. So
Yeah.
hopefully,
I
hopefully
think
that,
that, I think things are going to fall fairly well for us.
hopefully we can get another 118 years.
It won't impact, hopefully it won't impact people adversely. Every one of those jobs is attached to a person. People we know, the people that we share a space with. So the hope is that that will never be the case. Any other questions?
Not now.
Anything you want to add, Chuck? We're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We don't need a motion to adjourn because it wasn't a meeting, right? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed to adjourning?